I'm going to talk about international expansion, like James said. The reason I'm talking about that is because I've got a bit of a personal story that I expanded a company internationally. So I thought I'd tell you my story very briefly. I began my career working for a company called Brandwatch, a social media analytics platform. When I started working for them in Brighton, they were about 10 people. I grew up in Brighton, took a job as, sales, account management, SDR. When it's a company of that size, you're kind of everything. The company started to do really well, grow really quickly. So within a year, we were 100 people in Brighton and started to get all this interest from all around the world. So I spoke Portuguese and Spanish, and or still do, but at the time as well, spoke.
Sorry, Hannah, can you speak up just for the top?
Okay.
Project.
I'll project. Is this better? Can you hear me back there? Good. Okay, great. So I spoke Spanish, Portuguese. The CEO, Giles, said, "Want to go to Brazil? Want to open an office in Sao Paulo?" I said, "Sure, let's do it." Then we got some investment. The investors were like, "Why are you going to Brazil before you go to the States?" So I went to New York with a colleague of mine and opened up our New York office. Spent 4 years in New York, grew the team there from me and him to about 60 people. Decided, every tech company needs an office in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, so got to go there. Went there, opened an office, scaled back the office, learned a lot of lessons. And then after 5 years with Brandwatch, the company grew from 10 to 500 people, $65 million in funding, and a hell of a journey. So I felt like I'd accomplished everything I set out to. Joined another SaaS business in Mountain View, California called Tubular Labs, and VP of sales there for a year or so, and then decided it was time to come back home. So been in London for a while now, and I came home and I had no idea what the tech scene was like in London, because I've been in Silicon Valley and New York and knew the US market pretty well, but didn't know what was happening in Europe. Came back, was super impressed, and fell into consulting. So started up my own consultancy, helping high growth SaaS businesses do lots of different things. And then I landed on Winning by Design, actually through an introduction through Notion Capital, who I was kind of flirting with to say, "Hey, do you want to introduce me to your portfolio companies?" And they said, "We like Winning by Design." They've designed sales as a science. They've put together these books and blueprints and really know what they're doing. So here I am. I lead the UK business for Winning by Design. That's enough about me, though. I'm talking about international expansion. As I said, I've got 3 top tips. So the first one of those is thinking about why. Why do you want to expand internationally? A lot of businesses that I meet and have met say, "Well, we're growing so fast here in the UK. Our salespeople are so busy. There must be we know the States is, normally it's the US, it can be other markets depending on your business." So just to caveat everything I'm saying here tonight, these are broad brush strokes. They're not going to apply to every single business, but these are themes that I've learned from working with about 100 SaaS companies. So why? I like to think about this as push and pull. A lot of companies go to the US because they feel they should, or go to Asia or wherever it may be. But often it's very expensive expanding internationally. Not just the legal fees and visas and things like that, and incorporating a business overseas, but hiring people and figuring out where to go, and everything's very expensive. So it's an expensive mistake to make if you are not yet ready. So that's when companies push. When companies are pulled internationally, what that looks like is they have clients that they're working with on a global basis, and their clients say, "Hey, can you talk to our team in New York? Can you talk to our team in Singapore?" And then suddenly they're having to service these clients on a global basis, and they need people kind of round the clock. So I'm not going to go into it in detail, but there's a few different things you can do, from having to service different time zones all the way through to actually needing people on the ground in a more permanent way. But the first top tip is, are you really ready? Are you pushing to go abroad, or are you being pulled there? The second one is where. Where do you want to go? As I said in my story earlier, with Brandwatch, we decided we needed an office in San Francisco. So we went. The office cost in San Francisco, personally, rent in San Francisco, New York was the most expensive city in the US until the month that I decided to move to San Francisco, where San Francisco overtook New York as the most expensive city. You're looking at, $3,500. This was then, a few years ago, for basically a large studio apartment a month. So rent, personally, office space and talent is the most expensive in the world. And we decided to ship a few of our developers over to help with that from the UK office. So we did that, and then realized, that what you pay a developer, especially in Brighton or in the UK compared to in Silicon Valley, is very different. So suddenly we had to be offering a really exciting role and really great benefits to keep our UK developers that we'd shipped over wanting to work for us and not going to work for anyone else in Silicon Valley. And sales was the same story. It's really, really tough. So anyway, long story short, think about where you want to go. Don't just go where everyone else goes, and normally go where your business is. So again, where are your clients? If you're selling into ad tech, if you're ad tech and you're selling into advertising agencies, it's probably New York. If you're working with entertainment and media, it's probably LA. So again, all my examples are US based because that's my experience from spending about 7 years there. That's number two. Number three is who. So when you go, I meet a lot of CEOs that say, yep, I'm ready, I'm going to take my family, I'm going to move, I'm going to go, I'm going to take the company there. That's not what we did when I was at Brandwatch, and I actually think it worked out really well. We sent, myself and somebody else from the business to go there, commercial people, and the CEO, Giles, came for stints at a time. He'd come for a few months and then go back. And I think that was really important for culture as well, because the business has grown very quickly in the UK. We had a really good thing going, but having the main leader, and especially if your CEO is kind of that pillar personality who keeps the company together like Giles was, it can be Giles is, it can be very disruptive to have them out of the business completely. So think about who you send, also who you hire. So we had, the great things that we did when we went there is we have some really great customers, so we were pulled there. Our customers even said, come sit in our offices. So we had our team of people sitting at the back of their office, and they said, hey, we've got other vendors we work with who have really talented people. We think you could actually hire them. So anyway, we got a introduction to somebody, but this was another lesson learned. We hired from a competitor via a customer, and it didn't work out. She left after 3 months, and that was a nightmare, but we learned a lot of lessons. One, we didn't realize about healthcare in the US, and that you really do have to pay for healthcare. And also, it was chaos, absolute chaos for the first 3 to 6 months, and I mean, the whole time really was chaos, but it's exceptional chaos. So find people that can deal with chaos, and don't send your CEO in most cases. Anyway, that's it. I think my time's up, so thanks.